everybody, we're gonna help you free up 28 hours per week.
28 hours, now that's a whole heck of a lot of time.
Yeah, especially if you're not getting up at 4 a.m., which we're not gonna have you do. And that's because we don't do it ourselves.
And we can forgive you for thinking this might be clickbait, especially if you haven't been to our channel before, but we are gonna go into specifics.
Yeah, on how to free up 28 hours per week without getting up earlier. So keep watching.
About to see the world in action.
I really hope your New Year's is getting off to a really good start. At least better than the year 2020 was.
Yeah. Although that's a little dangerous to say because we're not going to post this for another few weeks. And who knows what's going to happen in those weeks. But regardless of how it's going, we're going to make it a little bit better.
I think it's worth mentioning that none of the stuff we're going to be sharing now is just taken out of thin air. It's all based off of stuff that we've done in previous videos and just experiments we've done.
And of course, none of this is, the holy truth. None of this will be the same for you exactly. Of course, your family is different. Your activities, your habits, what have you, are different. So maybe you'll save 26 hours or 12 hours or 40 hours. I don't know. But you will definitely save time if you do some of the stuff that we suggest in this video. So, shall we dive in?
Yes. The first thing you should do to free up 28 hours per week is to batch cook.
Yeah, if you're not doing that already, you should definitely be doing that.
Yeah, we did a video on it, but it's basically just to cook once. So if you eat 7 times per week, probably, then
Probably 7 days a week. You probably eat more than 7 times a week, but principle is the same. You should basically condense the cooking time into fewer sessions where you don't have to do as much, like bringing stuff out and cleaning up.
We saved about 2 hours per week by doing this.
Yeah, we tried actually doing a couple of recipes, sloppy joe and pizzas. And it was somewhere between 1 hour and 45 minutes to 2 hours, 15 minutes, something like that. Everything included, putting stuff away into the freezer and heating stuff up. You're still saving a heck of a lot of time.
Batch cooking.
The second thing you can do to free up 28 hours per week is to do your grocery shopping online.
This is probably not news to you guys that that's possible, but we did an experiment on this to actually measure out how much time we saved, and we saved about 30 minutes per week. Now that's not a ton of time, but it still is a really nice long nap.
Which you should always be thinking in terms of how many naps can I take with the time that I'm freeing up.
Exactly.
And to be honest, it's not always just about the time, and we look into that in the experiments that we do as well. You should also be considering the money that you're saving or just the convenience of being able to shop from home.
Yeah, and we base this off of going to the store once to twice per week, because that's what we do. But if you go more often than that, then you'll save more time.
That makes sense. If you've liked this video so far, please consider giving it a like, and if you haven't already, then subscribe. We would thank you for it. Don't know what that was. Should we move on?
We should move on. Number 3 is to use your phone less.
Yes, we did a huge experiment.
Huge!
Where our phone usage was kind of front and center. What we found out was that we use our phone a heck of a lot more than we think we use our phone. We basically only used our phone during this experiment for tracking our food, our diet, and for exercise. We have an exercise app that we used during that time, and that was pretty much the extent
and then
of it.
Phone calls.
Yes, the normal stuff that you, once upon a time, used phones for.
Back when I was a teenager, I got my first phone. That's what only thing I did was texting and phone calls.
That's the only thing you could do.
Yeah.
Before the experiment, we were probably spending around 3 to 4 hours per day.
On our phones.
Which is a lot of time to be spending on your phone.
And that's not just us being horrible. That's the average.
Is it?
It is. Here it says the average US adult will spend 2 hours and 55 minutes on their phone in 2019.
Techjury.net, to answer simply, a lot. Okay, well, that's not very helpful. Most people check their phones around 63 times per day.
He says as he checks his phone.
5.4 hours on average, Americans. Nothing against Americans, it's just, this is referring to Americans, so.
I don't think they have these for Scandinavians.
Probably not.
Well, here it says the average US adult will spend 2 hours and 55 minutes.
3 hours and 43 minutes according to emarketer.com. So somewhere between just under 3 hours to just over 5 hours. Our average was right around 3 hours and 45 minutes. I don't think that's an unreasonable amount of time to use as kind of the benchmark for our comparison. During the experiment, we got our phone usage down to about or a little less than an hour per day.
That's 2 hours and 45 minutes a day that you could save.
19 hours and 15 minutes per week. That is huge. Maybe you're really good at not using your phone mindlessly.
Maybe you don't own a phone.
Kudos to you if that's the case. If you do own a phone, you can actually check your screen time usage on most, I think, phones and devices today. You can check it out. You can see what your day-to-day use is. If you feel like it, please share how much you actually use your phone in the comments below. If you don't, how much do you think you use your phone on a day-to-day basis?
Oh, or better yet, how much do you think? And then check it, and then how much was the actual?
Wow,
that'd be cool. Anyways.
Yeah, I would be very interested in knowing where you guys are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The next thing you can do to free up 28 hours per week is to watch less TV. Now this is also part of the big experiment that we did. And we probably watch about 2 hours a day.
It's hard to gauge because we don't have the same insights as we do with our smart devices, but I think that's not unreasonable. 2 hours, maybe like a show in the evening. I watch a bit of football, a couple of games a week.
And I walk by, sit down, watch something with the kids, and I get stuck there watching Peppa Pig for like an hour.
And then like, do you really? Shut up. And then we watch maybe a movie on the weekends every now and again. Yeah, so maybe 14 hours per week. I mean, there are days that we watch more, there are days that we watch less, but I don't think that's unreasonable.
No.
And if we cut that down by half, we watch 7 hours instead of 14 hours per week. I mean, that's 7 hours that you can save.
You can still watch your football.
Brilliant! That's what I want to do. And that's what you should do too. Think about the stuff that you really do want to watch and watch those things and then, save the rest of the time. There is a thing that needs to be considered as well. When you're watching TV, tell me that I'm not the only one that, looks up my phone and starts scrolling through social media while I'm supposed to be watching something and enjoying that. So we don't want to double count that time. We're saving 7 hours a week. Let's assume that maybe half of that time I'm also on my phone and we've already counted that time. So you can save, based on our experiment, our experience, 3.5 hours per week.
Now, a quick internet search reveals that the average is probably closer to 3 to 4 hours. So if you watch closer to that, or even more, then you'll save even more time.
Brilliant. The next thing you could do to free up a little bit of time is to delegate and to set up good routines in your home.
Big surprise, we also did an experiment on this one. So with the laundry, we used to spend
a lot of time.
45 minutes on laundry per week. We timed this. And then experimenting with different situations, different routines, different things we could do with the laundry, we reduced that to 15 minutes per week.
Granted, some of that is actually picked up by our kids who now do a lot more of their laundry, but still,
we are
for
saving
us,
time.
Yes, exactly.
Another place you can free up a lot of time is the morning routine. We used to just get up all together and tell the kids what to do and do it ourselves, and it would be a little bit stressful because the kids would just constantly come to us and ask, what's the next thing I should do? Or sit and play, and we'd have to tell them to come back to what they're supposed to do. Now, we made chore charts, and we informed them of their personal responsibilities, and we've reduced the time that we use in the morning by 30 minutes.
Yeah, so what that actually means is that now instead of all of us getting up at 6:30, the kids usually get up at 6:30 and they'll play around in their rooms for a little bit, but we can sleep longer, so we'll get up at 7. Now, you probably didn't expect that when you clicked this video. You'll actually get to sleep longer. Ha!
Now that's 30 minutes a day on the morning routine. Now 5 times a week on school days, that's 2.5 hours a week.
Add on top of that the 30 minutes for the laundry routine. That's 3 hours per week that you're saving just with routines and delegation. And I'm sure you could think of other areas in your own life where you can delegate or set up routines to make things run a little bit more smoothly.
The total tally of time you freed up is now 28 hours and 15 minutes. But we can't really mention all these things without mentioning planning, and that takes time.
Yeah, that takes time, and it's kind of the key to making sure that all of this work. Like we can't come up with these systems without thinking about them and planning them out and doing these experiments. I think it's also the key to making sure that the time that you do free up is spent on something that, actually gives something back, that you are intentional about the time that you free up. And it's hard, at least for us, to do that without planning. So we're at 28 hours and 15 minutes per week, but we're gonna reinvest 15 minutes of that to do our weekly planning and make sure that the rest of those 28 hours are spent on things that matter to us.
Yeah, like 56 half-hour naps. Well, I'm taking a nap. Wake up, take a nap. Wake up, take a nap. Which of these do you already do, and where are you most excited to save some time?
Maybe you have some time-saving tips of your own that you would like to share with us in a comment. And if you found this insightful or entertaining, or maybe both, then please consider sharing it with your friends. We'd really appreciate that. Now, we touched on a lot of different videos throughout this video, and I think you'd enjoy checking these out. But if there's one video that you have a look at, I would check out the one on our dopamine fast, because we're not only talking about the time that we save up, but also just the impact that it has on you and your family's well-being and the feelings in your home. You can check it out over here. And then we'll see you next week.
Bye.